Let's hear what study skills expert Joanne Boshnell from Empower Yourself has to say.
My name is Joanne Boshnell. I'm a teacher. I'm also known as a motivational speaker, and my passion or expertise is on teaching pupils how to study actively rather than passively, and how to enjoy their work and to reach their goals that they set out with regards to their studying. I think it's very important that pupils, particularly matrics, are very aware of how they are studying, because so many pupils who are studying in a particular way, for example, like parrots, they're learning everything off by heart, they're trying to retain all the information. They need to be aware that there are other ways on how to study. There are much easier ways of reducing their volume of work, of making it more fun, being more involved in their studying. And I think it's important that pupils reflect on the way that they're studying, to know that they're possibly studying that's taking them so much time, that they're learning so much they can't hold it all into their brain. So I think it's into their memory. I think it's important because one of the biggest fears of studying is the fear of forgetting, the fear of failure, that the fear of stress. I mean, so much stress is revolved around studying with parents and with pupils and generally in the home. And it's actually predetermined. Oh, it's exam time, it's going to be stressed. And yet, if you actually reflect, to answer your question on how you're studying, if you're studying in a certain way that's working, that alleviates the stress and it alleviates the fear of forgetting if you're learning in a particular way. Okay, I teach something called whole brain learning, which basically enables us to use both sides of our brain. We have a left side of our brain, we have a right side of the brain. They both do different things. I won't go into it, that's a whole nother hour's talk. But our left brain will focus on certain ways and our right brain focuses on certain ways. If I can teach pupils, which I do, to use their whole brain, we have many articles, and I'm sure a lot of you have read, that we're only using certain percentage of our brain, which is very frustrating, because why, if we've got this great brain that we keep reading about, we're not using the whole thing. So we need to realize that when we're studying, there are certain things that you can do. For example, structured summaries. For example, doing a mind map, talking out loud when you're studying, explaining to yourself when you're studying, drawing pictures, is all using either your left or your right hand side of the brain. And what I do is I incorporate all of that into how to study, doing a variety of techniques, drawing, mind maps, talking out loud, explaining, teaching it to yourself, doing proper outlined summaries, structured summaries, lists of keywords that we can use to trigger off when we're explaining it out loud. So there are many different ways of how to study, but if I have to sum it up to answer your question, my ideal would be active learning versus passive learning. Many pupils are studying passively. They're just reading through their work, going over it and over it and over it again. It's causing them to be very bored, very stressed. They're forgetting information. Sometimes you'll get to the second page and you've already forgotten what you've read in the first page. So by being completely involved in your studying, by being actively creating pictures, finding ways, a lot of pupils use rhymes to remember certain keywords, or they'll find little stories or little poems in a way that they can remember it. That is active learning. And active learning is not coming home and sitting passively and going over your work, where your concentration is not stimulated, your mind is wandering. So I think there's using a variety of skills, even if you have to figure them out yourself, is active learning versus passive learning. I think you need to go home when you're studying and know what you're going to do. So many pupils procrastinate. They put off their studying because they don't really know what to do. They go into they come home from school and they know they have to go and study, and their mom's saying and dad's saying, have you studied? And actually they know they're going to go upstairs and not know what to do. So I think by knowing what you're going to do, for example, the pupils that I teach, or myself if I'm studying, I'll come home and I'll say, right, I'm going to set myself 45 minutes to study. And I literally go by the clock and I say, right, I'm going to do 45 minutes because at the end I want to watch this TV program, or I want to go out with my friends. Or you've got to have this idea of oh, I'll go and study for 5 hours and I'll just get it all in my head. After 20 minutes, you're going to think, I'm bored. But I know that in 45 minutes, I'm out, I'm finished, I'm going to go and do something fun. And that makes me use those 45 minutes much more effectively. So to answer your question, yes, to know what you're doing. How do you know what you're doing? Go there and say, I'm going to draw, I'm going to divide up your work. I'm going to do these 2 pages only tonight. Or if you've got 20 pages and your test is on Friday, divide it up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That means I'm only going to do so many pages a day. That makes it much easier than doing 20 pages the night before when you can't get it all in. If that does happen, still have a plan. Say, right, I'm going to do these 20 pages. Let's be realistic here. That's what happens with a lot of pupils. I'm going to do 5 now. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go for a swim. I'm going to watch my TV program. Then I'm going to do another 4. I'm going to get up early tomorrow morning, do the last 3. If that's the case, but don't try to do 20 pages at once. And go with a plan. Say, I'm going to draw pictures on this. I'm then going to explain it to my dog. And I'm going to talk it out loud. I'm then going to put a whiteboard and I'm going to find a way of remembering it. And that's actually just on that note where parents can come in. So many parents, when they test their pupils, they'll take out their book and say, right, answer me this. And they're asking them for a parrot fashion answer. As parents, we should rather say, how did you remember this? What's your way of remembering this? Did you create a picture? Tell me about your picture. Did you make up a movie about this? Tell me about your movie. Rather than give me the answer. So we're trying to rather let them use their memory than using their parrot fashion skills.
That study slam definitely clarified a lot of stuff for me.
The next 2 questions you need to ask yourself are, do you apply your study skills effectively? Such as processing information, understanding, summarizing, synthesizing, and memorizing.
And do you have a study strategy, a plan, program for studying in place?
Take a break now and use all the previous aspects that we have covered to design a personal study plan for yourself. These will include: think about your past experiences of study since grade 10. Identify your strengths and your weaknesses. Confirm what is expected of you in grade 12. Draw up a study timetable. Reflect on your study style and skills and adopt new techniques that you may have heard of or learned from others. Remember to include what and how. Which study strategies work for you? When? When is the best time to study? Where? In what kind of environment is it best for you to study? Who? To whom can you go if you need help? Why? Why will this plan work for you? Use a mind map, web, list, schedule, or chart to organize your ideas in a personal plan that will work for you. Are you self-confident? This is really about feeling reassured that the method you're using is effective and works for you.
Once you've developed your personal study plan, present it to your peers, preferably in groups of 4.
This activity can be an informal task, which is assessed by your peers.
The criteria of the rubric they could use are: learners' reflections on study styles, skills and strategies, learners' record of the expectations of grade 12, learners' development and organization of the plan, learners' presentation of the complete plan, learners' self-confidence.
If you're feeling confident with your method and plan, then this is going to be able to be transported into your exam context.
Jill, you mentioned the exam context. Let's look at the exam writing skills.